What's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Holly and this is my booktube channel. We talk about reading and books and I'm always drinking coffee. Today I actually have a new one for you. I picked up the Black Rifle Coffee Company's 5 Alarm Blend, I believe is what it's called. It's kind of their ode to firefighters and first responders, and it's really good. It's kind of a medium roast blend and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So if you don't already have a cup of coffee or tea or drink of your choice, go grab some, settle in, and let's talk mystery books. If you're familiar with my channel, you know that I love murder mystery stories, cozy mysteries, mystery thrillers, everything in that type of realm. So I thought it'd be a good idea today to let y'all know about some mystery type books that are coming out in the month of March, so that if you're into those type of books, you know what's coming out and you can pick up some of these books. Now, of course, I won't be able to cover every single book that's coming out in March. There are probably dozens upon dozens of books coming out, but these are just the ones that kind of caught my eye that I thought seemed the most interesting, and let's just jump into this. So if you see me looking down, I have my laptop in front of me with the list of books that I'm going to share with you and kind of my brief notes on what they're about so that I can describe them to you. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I wanted to start off with a couple of cozy mysteries that fit the month of March and kind of a St. Patrick's Day theme. The first book I have for you is called Irish Knit Murder by Peggy Earhart. This is book 9 in her Knit and Nibble mystery series. I think book 1 was called Murder She Knit. I haven't read anything in this series, but it seems like kind of a fun series if you're into knitting and cats, and that's kind of the cozy mystery world. It embraces all of the old lady things, the cat lady things, and has a lot of fun with it. In this book, it takes place near St. Patrick's Day, and you are following Pamela Patterson. She is a magazine editor who has a little knitting club. And in this book, I believe a woman who's maybe 70-something years old, who's kind of eccentric and wealthy, turns up dead. And of course, as cozy mysteries go, the main character goes about trying to solve her murder. That's really all you need to know about cozy mysteries. There's pretty much a basic plot. There's a main character, they run some sort of store usually, or some type of business, or they have some sort of unique job. They usually have a furry animal companion, and pretty much in every book someone turns up dead and they go about being an amateur sleuth and trying to figure out who done it. I forgot to mention, that book is actually coming out February 21st. I know it's not March, but by the time this video comes out, there's still like a week or so left in February, so I thought I'd let you know which books are coming out right at the tail end of February, and they have a March theme, like I said, so it fits. The next book I have for you also comes out February 21st, and it is called Death in Irish Accents by Katie Murphy. This is book 4 in the Dublin Driver mystery series. Book 1 is called Dead in Dublin, so the whole series is an Irish cozy mystery series. So even if you're not ready to read book 4, even starting with book 1 would be perfect St. Patrick's Day March vibes. So Megan Malone is your main character. She is a limousine driver in Dublin, Ireland. Your cast of characters includes Megan's girlfriend Jelena and Detective Burke. Those are kind of the two people that the main character works with the most. Megan just happens to stumble upon a dead body at her favorite cafe, and she's really trying to stay out of solving these murders. She's trying to stay out of the way and let law enforcement do their thing, but as you might imagine, she can't stay away for too long. She gets this new client who is someone that she has to drive around in her limousine, I suppose, and she starts piecing together that maybe this client has something to do with this murder. So it's not long before she's putting on her sleuthing hat and trying to figure out who committed this murder. I think there's even some type of secret where this person that she's driving around is like a famed romance author, and there's this whole reading, writing, mentorship group, and another one of the people in that group turns up dead, and the main character starts looking at her client because it's kind of coming to light that maybe this person has been plagiarizing the victim's work all this time. So that one kind of sounds like a fun time. It's set in Ireland, all the Ireland vibes, all the St. Patrick's Day vibe. Again, that one's coming out February 21st. That is Death in Irish Accents by Caitlin Murphy. Next up, on February 23rd, we have Zoning, Zealots, and Ziplines by Tanya Capps. She is quickly becoming one of my favorite cozy mystery authors. I really enjoy her Criminals and Campers mystery series, and this is book 29 in the series, I believe, so there's quite a few books, but as you know, with cozy mysteries, you can kind of jump in anywhere, and there's really no spoilers because there's a new mystery every time. The only spoilers you might get are some of the relationships that the main character has. You might miss something if a character gets kicked out of a story, or maybe a romance sparks and you're like, wait, I didn't know she was dating that person. So sometimes maybe some of her relationships get spoiled if you jump around or jump ahead in books, but in general the mystery is fresh and the authors do a good job of kind of catching you up so you don't have to start way at the beginning if you don't want to. And I think I misspoke. This is book 30 in her series. You're still following Mae West, the owner of this campground who ends up there from a series of circumstances that happened in the first book. And in this book, as the title would suggest, the owner of a local zipline turns up dead, and Mae West and all her lady friends in the Laundry Club ladies, I think is their name, they're the ones that set out to solve the case. They are a southern, hilarious group of women that meddle and get into these mysteries and try to solve them, and they are such a fun time and fantastic. So if you're interested, make sure to pick up Zoning, Zealots, and Ziplines by Tanya Capps. All right, finally getting into March. On March 1st, we have a book called The Maids Diary coming out. This is by author Lorith Ann White. It is a psychological suspense novel. You're following Kit Darling. She is a maid with a snooping problem. She works for some wealthy clients and she often pries into their lives and snoops around in their stuff. But there's a new client she gets and she sees something she can't unsee. And whatever it is she saw now makes her a target for, I guess, these clients. I guess whatever she saw was something she should not have seen. And now these clients are kind of a danger to her. And this is kind of a unique book because not only are you following Kit, the maid, but you have another main character named Mallory, who is a homicide detective. Mallory gets called to the scene of a crime at this massive mansion called the Glass House. And it seems like this is where Kit was working and where these new clients lived, because when Mallory gets there, the owners are nowhere to be found, and the maid, Kit, is missing as well. All that she sees is blood everywhere, but no body. The only witness is an elderly woman who lives next door who just heard screams in the middle of the night, and she's the last person who saw Kit alive. So that's kind of the premise of this mystery thriller book. It sounds really good. I kind of love the aspect of the maid having a snooping problem and it getting her into more trouble than she bargained for. And then also having another character who's a homicide detective, so you get her thoughts into the investigation as well. That one sounds really interesting, so make sure you check it out. It's coming out March 1st, and that is The Maids Diary. Next up is a book I'm really excited about. It's coming out March 7th. It's called Till Death Do Us Part by Kate Lansing. Kate Lansing is another one of the cozy mystery authors that is quickly becoming a top favorite of mine. Y'all may remember that I recently read Killer Chardonnay, which is the first book in her Colorado wine mystery series. Till Death Do Us Part is book 4, and I'm trying to work my way there quickly so that I can read it when it comes out. I don't have much time left, but cozy mysteries are usually pretty quick reads, so I'm trying to get through books 2 and 3 so that I can check out book 4 when it comes out March 7th. You're still following Parker Valentine. She's the owner of her winery in Colorado. And in this book, it is June, so it's wedding season. And Parker's cousin is getting married, and she asked Parker to provide the wine for the wedding, which she's thrilled to do. But midway through the wedding ceremony, this kind of quirky wedding planner ends up dead, and as you can imagine, that's a really bad thing to have happen at a wedding. I was worried about tripping down the aisle, but having a dead body in the middle of the ceremony, I think I would take tripping down the aisle. So of course, as you can imagine, it's a wedding. Everybody is stressed. Everybody's short-tempered. Everyone is freaking out. And it's up to Parker to figure out who committed this murder, try to get the wedding weekend back on track, and I'm sure there are a ton of other elements that are fun, and some of them might be spoilers, so I won't go into it, but it is on the back of the book, so I guess I can say that Parker is dating Reed. You may remember him from the first book. She's still dating him, and of course her family is asking all kinds of questions about her new boyfriend and being nosy into her life. So you've got that kind of side story going along with the murder mystery. It sounds like a fun time. I can't wait for it to come out. So that is Till Death Do Us Part by Kate Lansing. Next up, on March 7th, we have another mystery thriller coming out. This is called What Have We Done by Alex Finley. In this one, you're following 3 different characters. We have a stay-at-home mom with a past, a has-been rock star, and a reality TV producer with debt. Apparently they were best friends 25 years ago, like when they were in high school, and the back of the book, or the synopsis anyway, says that they all share one deadly secret. The reason they have a shared past is because they all lived at a place called the Savior House. It's kind of a group home for teens, but apparently it was a really abusive environment, and they were friends back then, and something happened back then that they all know about and kept secret for 25 years. And now in this book, they are forced to be reunited. And the reason they're being reunited is because somebody is trying to kill them, and they have to go about figuring out who and why, and it's forcing them to kind of go back and relive some of those dark secrets in their past in order to figure out who's trying to kill them and try to stop it. That one sounds like a really fun time, so make sure you check that out. That's called What Have We Done by Alex Finley, coming out March 7th. Another book coming out March 7th is called The London Seance Society. This is by Sarah Penner. She's also the author who wrote The Lost Apothecary. I haven't read that one yet, but I've seen it make its rounds kind of on BookTube and Bookstagram, so I've heard good things about it. But the London Seance Society is set in 1873 on the outskirts of Paris. There are women who conjure up spirits of murder victims in order to try and figure out who killed them. One of your main characters is named Lena, and her sister was killed somehow, and she wants answers into what happened to her sister. And she's heard about these women who can conjure up these spirits of victims, and even though she's kind of a logical, black and white thinker type of person, she's willing to go to these women and see if she can get some answers. And I think what happens is not only does she get sucked into this world, but she ends up becoming an understudy of the main conjurer woman and ends up getting into doing it herself. And I think they have to pair up with a men's group called the London Seance Society in, as you would expect, London, England. They team up with this group of men in order to solve some sort of high-profile murder that has just happened. And that's all I really know, but that sounds really good. That's such a creative storyline. I love the 1870s setting and the fact that they can conjure up spirits of victims to solve murders. It sounds really unique, sounds very interesting. So I'm excited to get to a London Seance Society. And again, on March 7th, we have another book coming out called The Kind Worth Saving by Peter Swanson. I think Peter Swanson also wrote the book called The Kind Worth Killing, another one I haven't read, but I think it was really highly rated, and I've heard good things about that one too. But in this one, The Kind Worth Saving, you're following a woman named Joan. She goes to a private investigator named Henry Kimball, and I think the book is a lot from his perspective as well. So this woman, Joan, she wants help proving that her husband is cheating on her. Henry knows Joan from his previous life as an English teacher, and the book kind of alludes that back then when he was an English teacher, he went through some type of tragedy, and somehow Joan is tied in with all of that. He starts investigating to try to figure out if this woman's husband is cheating on her, but it ends up getting more complicated because he goes to this home to try to investigate some lead he's on and ends up finding 2 dead bodies in this house. This house has been on the market, I guess, for sale, so there's no one living in it. It's abandoned. So the fact that there are 2 dead bodies in it is pretty alarming. And the book kind of gives you clues that Henry has to kind of go back to that tragedy in his past and figure out some things to do with that in order to solve this murder. And apparently he figures out Joan may have had some secrets that she's been hiding all this years, and all of it gets tied into this mystery thriller. And I don't really know a ton of details other than that, but it sounds like a really awesome whodunit, and I'm excited to get to The Kind Worth Saving by Peter Swanson. This next book is so interesting sounding. It is coming out March 21st, and it is called How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano. It's about identical triplets who habitually kill their boyfriends. You're mainly following Sissy. She is the youngest triplet, and I think somehow the triplets have basically been killing all these men all across the country, and in this book they end up in Arizona, and Sissy is supposed to be killing this one Mark, and it kind of gets derailed because she ends up falling in love with this guy. So basically the whole book is kind of those, you know, conflicting themes where she's torn between doing what her serial killer's sisters want her to do and falling in love with this guy that she's supposed to be killing. And I love the trope of books that follow the mind of the actual killer or the criminal. I think that's fascinating, getting a peek into their brain. So this one should be good. It's called How I'll Kill You by Ren DeStefano, coming out March 21st. Another book coming out March 21st is called Sunlit Weapon. This one is by Jacqueline Winspear, and this is kind of a cozy mystery whodunit series as well. This book is book 17, I believe, in the Maisie Dobbs mystery series. This particular book takes place in October of 1942. Jo Hardy is a 22-year-old female pilot, which is so cool, and she's delivering a Supermarine Spitfire. It is the fastest fighter aircraft in the world back at this time in 1942. She's flying in this plane, and she all of a sudden realizes that someone's shooting at her from the ground, and I believe she's flying over Germany at this point, which, as you can imagine, in 1942, is a little scary. And I'm not sure if she lands or crash lands, but eventually she ends up on the ground in Germany, and she goes towards where she remembers the shooting coming from. When she gets there, she finds a man all tied up, and I believe he's American. So she rescues him, unties him, and gets him over to the American military police who are in the country at the time. But then she finds out that this man that she rescued is actually a suspect in the disappearance of another fellow soldier. Then 2 days later, another pilot crash lands in this exact same spot, and Jo seeks out the help of Maisie Dobbs. Maisie Dobbs is kind of your main character. She's the sleuther, if you will. Maisie is not only an investigator, but she is a psychologist, and her husband is some sort of bigwig at the American embassy in Germany, and he's working on preparing the security for Eleanor Roosevelt. I guess Eleanor Roosevelt is scheduled to come to this location at some point in time. So Maisie has to try to figure out what the connection is between this soldier that they found tied up and the German agents who are rumored to be targeting the First Lady before she gets there and something really bad happens. This book sounds so unique, and I love books that are set in the 1940s or in the World War II era times, and I love that they feature these badass women that fight crime and are flying fighter pilots. I mean, just so cool. So I think this one's going to be really good. That is A Sunlit Weapon, coming out March 21st by Jacqueline Winspear. And I've also heard that Jacqueline Winspear is coming out with another book the same day called The White Lady. That's just something I've kind of heard. I don't know much about that book, but that might be something to look into as well. The last book I have for you is coming out March 28th. It is called Her Deadly Game by Robert Dugani. In this one, you're following Kira Dugan. She was working as a prosecutor when her relationship with a senior colleague kind of went south, and it either forced her to quit or they fired her. I'm not sure which, but in any event, she leaves that job, moves back home, and starts working for her family's criminal defense firm. So she goes from being a prosecutor to a criminal defense attorney. Total opposite sides of the spectrum. One of her first clients that retains her is a man who's accused of murdering his wife, and he's facing like life in prison. So she takes on this case defending this man and figures out the prosecutor who will be prosecuting this case is her former lover, as luck would have it. So of course, he's eager to destroy her in trial, and if that's not complicated enough, eventually she realizes this case is getting way more complicated than she anticipated, and the book kind of says that something puts her in a position of having to decide between her family, her duty to her client, and her own future. I don't know what could put her in that position, but I can imagine there are times, especially as a criminal defense lawyer, where your duty to your client is very conflicting with your morals, because as an attorney, you have a lot of client confidentiality, and you're going to hear things that you wish you hadn't heard, and they're not going to line up with your morals, but you have a duty, and breaking that duty can cost you your license. So I'm excited to see what puts her in this position, and I love the legal mystery thriller dynamic. So that one should be really good. If you're interested in that kind of thing, make sure to check this one out, coming out March 28th. March 28th, Her Deadly Game by Robert Dugani. That about wraps up the mystery books that I kind of have my eye on coming out this March. I hope you found something interesting in that list, or maybe a book that you're looking forward to picking up as well. Like I said, there's probably a ton more books coming out in March that I could have mentioned, but we don't have enough time for all of that on this channel. But there are usually a ton of cozy mystery books that come out every month. If you're really into cozy mysteries and you want to know all the cozy mysteries that are coming out every month, there's a couple of channels that I really enjoy watching that are almost exclusively dedicated to cozy mysteries that you really should check out. I have them written down here so that I don't forget anybody, and if I did, I'm so sorry. That doesn't mean I don't love your channel. These are just the ones that I could think of off the top of my head. We have Tiffany with The Beach Bum Bookworm. Her energy is unmatched. She is so energetic and enthusiastic about cozy mysteries, and she's read a ton of them, so she knows her stuff. You also have Spencer with Intentionally Bookish. I love Spencer. She is just the cutest, sweetest thing, and reads a ton of cozy mysteries as well. You also have Courtney with Courtagonist. She reads a ton of cozy mysteries, and I think she's even actually writing one of her own, so she definitely knows her stuff as well. Also make sure to check out Angela's channel. I believe her channel's called Books Are My Heart, heart spelled H-A-R-T. I think that might be her last name. She's got a good channel, and she also runs the Cozy Mystery Book Club on Instagram, so make sure to check out that Instagram as well if you're interested in cozy mysteries. And also make sure to check out Amy Marie's channel. She reads a ton of cozy mysteries. She has a lot of really great videos on cozy mysteries, and I love watching her channel as well. So, like I said, if you're interested in figuring out all of the cozy mystery novels that are being released in March and beyond, make sure to check out those channels. I'll try to mention them on my channel as well, but I do a lot of other books, so I don't have time for every single cozy mystery, but I don't want you all to miss out, so make sure to go check out their channel as well, give them a like and a subscribe, and thank you all for watching this channel as well. I hope you're having a good reading month, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye y'all!